Do you want to know how to increase Instagram engagement rate using Metricool to analyze data and analytics? In the next few minutes, I'm going to teach you how to know if your Instagram social media marketing strategy is working in this Metricool analytics tutorial. My name is ELISE Nelson, and I help tech challenge makers build a profitable e-commerce brand. Thanks for joining me on my YouTube channel, where I offer lessons that are 15 minutes or less to help you grow your e-commerce shop. In this short video, I'm going to share with you my favorite Instagram hashtag analytics app and how to analyze Metricool data. Before we jump into this maker lesson, I'd love to know how often you look at the data and analytics for your Instagram account, including stories and hashtags. Leave a comment and let me know. All right, so here are some awesome things not to miss when you are looking at your Instagram data and analytics on Metricool. So to look at the analytics, you're going to go into Metricool, you're going to log into Evolution and Instagram. Some things that you want to make sure you don't miss that I just wanted to point out before we jump into the actual understanding of the analytics. You can change the date, so make sure that you use that. I always recommend comparing apples to apples, so I like to have this always be 30 days. So I'm always comparing 30 days to another 30 days. If you do it by month, then you'll be comparing 28 days one month to 31 days another month. And so that isn't even. So we want to make sure we keep those dates the same when we're looking at our stats. The number two thing I want to show you is that you can show and hide specific metrics. So right here, do you see how this is kind of like light? It's not completely dark. It's because that's not showing. If I click on it, it'll show up. Now, why does this matter? Depending upon what metrics you're looking at, it may make it so you can't see something. So let me come down here. Do you see how these red ones are super little, like it's all squished down to the bottom, you can barely see it? If I unselect some of these other ones, do you see how suddenly the red one is big or pink? And I can actually see the variations. Whereas when I had these on here, it just looked like a flat line. So you want to make sure that you're paying attention to this because it can be a really easy way for you to be able to visually see how things have changed over time. Okay, so want to make sure that you know how to show and hide specific metrics. The next thing is using a table versus a chart. So in a lot of these metrics, you'll see something like this. Well, right now, it doesn't really show me the percentages of these particular countries. Whereas if I click on View Table, I can immediately see the percentages very easily. So knowing that you can switch back and forth between these can be really helpful. The other thing that I want to point out that is an awesome thing that Metricool gives us is this download CSV option. So this actually allows you to download the metrics and then you can reorganize them in a spreadsheet, do whatever it is that you want with them so that you can use them to the best of your ability. Okay, you also have an option on several of these where you can change what things are showing in your columns. I most of the time leave all of these selected, but if you ever did want to make it be so that there's only a few things showing, you can definitely do that as well. And then you can also sort by column label. So we've done this in one of our other videos where we talked about analytics. If you missed that, you can go back and watch it. It was all about how to analyze your competitor stats. If you hover over the label, you'll see this little arrow show up. If you click on it, it'll sort by that column. If you click on it a second time, it'll sort the other way. So this one is empty. So let's do this one. So right now we're sorting from smallest to largest. If I click it again, we're sorting from largest to smallest. And then the next thing is rows per page and page scroll. So here you can see the rows per page, right? It's automatically going to be set to 5, but if you click on it, you can change it to 10, 25, whatever you want it to be, and that'll show you more information. You can also scroll through the pages like that. So I'm on 1 through 5, now I'm on 6 through 10, okay? And then we also, on a few of these, have an option to search. So if I was looking at my competitors, for example, I could search here for a specific competitor that I wanted to evaluate. And then your post list, tweet list, video list is something that we covered in that last video all about your competitors. So you can go back to that one to see some more information about that. That is also a really cool tool that Metricool gives us so that we can really analyze our data and analytics. Okay, so now it's time to jump into the analytics themselves. So we're going to be looking at Instagram today. This video is all about Instagram analytics. So the very first analytics we're going to look at is our followers and then our followings. So for this time period, our followers were at 648. That is our total followers, okay? So this is all of the followers for this account. The followers listed down here is your new followers during this date. Okay, so this is how many we grew by during that time period. Then you can also see your average daily new followers. So this says daily followers, but I'm adding in these additional words. This is the average. So if you take your total followers and break it down by however many days you're looking at, that's your average. So it's not saying you actually got 0.53 followers a day. And it's your new followers. So this is not taking this into account. This is taking this number into account, which if you think about it, if there's 30 days that we're looking at, it would be about half with 16 followers. You can also look at your followings. So this is going to be, again, your total followings. And then this is going to be your new followings. So this is saying how many people you are starting to follow. And then your followers is how many people started to follow you, okay? Now you want to take note of any impact on your new followers from your new followings. There is, this does go together. If you have more followings, you'll usually see more followers. The next thing we're going to look at is going to be our demographics. So of course you can look at your gender, and of course if you hit the view table, it'll tell you your actual percentages, or you can look at view chart if you want something more visual. It will also tell you your country. So again, we can view our table to see our percentages, or look at the chart. It'll even list out your city, which can be really useful. This information can actually be used for advertising, for marketing, to really narrow things down. So it turns out that you have a lot of visitors from Scotland for some reason. Maybe there's some reason that that's happening. Maybe there's a hole in the market in that area that you can fill. So really pay attention to these demographics. I think sometimes as small business owners, as makers, we discount these and think they're not very important. But really, sometimes adding in these key locations can make a big difference in finding the right people for your brand. Okay, so now we're going to move into our account metrics. And some of you may have noticed I've skipped some of these as we've been going. That's intentional. We're going to talk about them in a minute. I didn't miss them. We're not going to not cover them, I promise. But let's talk about our account metrics. So the first one is your account impressions. So this is all of the impressions, which means how many times anyone looked at something. So it's the total views. What this means is that one person can be counted more than once. So if I went and I looked at your post today, and then tomorrow you post something else and I go and I look at that post also, that will count as 2 impressions, but it only counts as 1 reach because I'm one person. So your reach is going to be the number of people that looked at it. Your impressions is going to be the number of times they looked at it. So our impressions here is the number of times that it was viewed. Your average reach per day is telling you each day what average number of people looked at your content. So to find the total reach, you would have to take this number and multiply it by however many days you're looking at. So if you're doing 30, like I recommend, you would have to multiply this by 30 to find the reach per day, as opposed to the impressions per day. The next one we're going to look at is going to be the average daily likes. So that is going to be in the organic, and it is right here. So this is daily likes, and this again is an average, so I'm adding that word even though it only says daily likes here. And this is going to calculate how reach impacts likes. So if we know what our average daily reach is, which we saw right up here, average daily reach per day is 148 here in our example, and then we know our average daily likes, that tells me how many people I need to reach for each like. And so this gives me a metric that I can actually track. So if I take 148 divided by 9.67, that tells me I have to have about 15 to 16 people view my posts to get 1 like. Okay, so these are numbers you can actually calculate out. How do your reach impact your likes? Well, if you get more reach, you're going to get more likes, right? That makes sense. Then we're also going to look at our average daily comments, which is here, and you can do the same thing here. So we would take that 148 and divide it by 1.57. That's going to tell me how many people I need to reach to get a comment. Now, this is going to fluctuate. This is not always going to be the same. But if you can track these numbers and figure out what this is, then you will know where you're going up and down. And it can tell you if your content is better or worse than it was before and what things you may want to change or update. Next one that we want to look at here in our account is going to be our profile views. So this is people that actually go to your profile. This is not looking at posts, this is just your profile. And then we can look at our website clicks. Now on Instagram, you cannot click a link anywhere except on your profile. So if you want someone to actually go to a specific page on your website, you have to send them to your profile first. So this is a metric that you can actually figure out as well. How many people have to go to my profile before I get a website click? So if I have 182 profile views to get 2 website clicks, means about 91 people have to go and view my profile before I get someone to go to my website. This is really important information because it tells you what you have to do to get those visitors to your website. And so this is really, really important information, your profile views and your website clicks. And you can also do a comparison between your impressions and your website clicks. So this is going to be everything anyone has looked at compared to your website clicks. But since you have to send them to your profile for them to click your website link, using your profile views is a really good way to go about doing this. Now, before we jump into the rest of the video, please like this video and be sure to stick with me to the end to learn your challenge for today so that you can have a way to implement what you have learned. All right, so now we are going to move on to our organic metrics, and that's going to be under posts, so you can scroll down or you can click on posts to get to it. And the very first thing we're going to look at is our engagement rate. And we talked about this earlier. The engagement rate is the number of interactions per 1,000 followers. Interactions are going to include your likes, comments, and your saved. So here's our engagement rate, which is the number of interactions per 1,000 followers. Here's our interactions. And then likes, comments, and saves fall into that category of interactions. So again, these are numbers that you can track month to month to see how did my post do this month as compared to last month, okay? You can also see your impressions here. So this is organic impressions as opposed to the impressions for the entire account that we looked at earlier. And this is, again, the total views of content. In other words, one person can be counted more than once. And you can compare the organic impressions to your account impressions to kind of see the difference there as well. Next, we're going to look at our likes per comment right here. And this is telling you a ratio of likes to comments. So it helps you really understand and visualize the difference between trying to get likes and trying to get comments. So if your likes per comment ratio is lower, it means that you're probably not going to find that they're just as likely to like as they are to comment. But the lower your likes per comment is means the more likely they are to comment, and therefore the easier it is to get them to comment, and the fewer people you have to get to your page to get them to comment, right? So likes per comment is going to be a way for you to kind of see, are people a lot more likely to like my post, or are they just as even or pretty close to being able to comment or like my post? And this can be an indicator of what type of content you're using. So if you're asking them to engage with you and you're asking questions, usually this will be lower than if you're not. So that's just something you can kind of look at as well. And again, monitor and see how it's going. If all of a sudden your likes per comment goes really high, so like if this was like 20 likes per comment and it used to be 5, that means you've done something to get people to stop commenting, or the stuff that you've been posting hasn't been as engaging to them to get them to want to respond back to you. So this is, again, you're going to get like a baseline and watch this to see what happens as you change your social media content. Okay, so then we are going to talk about posts. So here are our posts, and again, we can change this out to show more if we wanted to see more rows. And this is all individual posts, so it's actually showing me the different posts that I have put up. So I can sort this by date, impressions, etc. And again, the impressions is the total views of the content, so that one person may be counted more than once if they've gone and looked at this more than one time. Your engagement rate, which is over here, right here, is the interactions per 1,000 followers. So you can compare these really easily, and it doesn't matter how many impressions there are, because it's still going to be based upon 1,000 followers, okay? So you can compare your engagement rate across posts regardless of how many people actually saw it. There's also organic information here as well, so organic reach, organic likes, organic saved, organic comments, and organic interactions. Again, interactions are a combination of likes, comments, and saved. So this is going to be these other numbers added up. This is what these numbers are. Now with reach, organic reach, this is going to be the total number of people who saw your content organically. So if I look at this row, for example, there were 78 impressions, 76 organic reach. I have no paid reach. I'm not running ads at this moment. So what that means is that either one of these people looked at this post 3 times to get the extra 2, or 2 of these people looked at this post 2 times. And I know that because 76 people viewed my content 78 times. I hope that that makes sense. If you have a question about that, definitely comment and let me know, and I'll be happy to try and explain it in a different way. But by looking at your impressions and your reach, you can tell how many people, which is the reach, looked at that content how many times. And so that's what we're looking at here. Now, if you have paid reach and organic reach, you'll have to add up those 2 reach numbers to get your totals. Like if this said I had 1 paid reach, that would mean my total reach was 77 people. And that means somebody looked at something twice to get to 78. Does that make sense? But if you're not running ads, then you can just look at your organic reach versus your impressions. And then the last one that we need to look at is our video views. And so depending upon if you're using video content, it's going to determine whether you've got anything here. So if it's not a video, there's clearly not going to be anything there. But again, just like everything else, you can click on it and you can sort it by most video views to least video views. And again, this can be a way for you to look at which content people liked the most. So like, for example, I'm seeing that there's several, these are all white background videos. Does that mean people like white background videos more? I don't know, maybe. So you would have to really look at this and kind of determine. Sometimes there's a very clear, definite winner. People seem to like X better. Sometimes there's not. But if you happen to be one of those ones that it's very clear winner, it can guide you on what to do next. Now, if you want more help with your e-commerce brand, be sure to subscribe and sign up for notifications on this YouTube channel, where I offer lessons that are 15 minutes or less to help you grow your e-commerce shop. All right, so that was all about your individual post, evaluating each individual post and kind of letting it tell you where you're at. I do want to point out one additional thing here. If you click on the More button here, it'll actually show you your hashtags, what your text was on each post. And then just like I showed you before, if you click on View, it'll take you to the actual post itself. But now, since we've looked at our post, we're going to start talking about all of our data. So if I come back up to our organic section here, you will see the number of new posts. It's right here. So I had 28 new posts during this time period. You can also see in the community section, which was at the top, the average daily posts, which is right here, 0.93, and the average posts per week, 6.53. So I'm almost posting once a day is basically what we're looking at here. You can also come back down here to the organic section, the post section. You can see your average reach per post. Now, again, reach is the number of people who viewed your content, okay? So why does this matter? So if we compare our reach per post to the likes per post, for example, you would be able to tell how many people had to be reached to get a like, okay? So our average reach per post is here. Our average likes per post is right here, 10.36. So if I have 10 likes per post and I get 68 reach per post, then that means that for every one person that likes it, I have to have basically 7 people look at it. Does that make sense? So this is another way to check your metrics. What do I have to do to get those likes, to get those comments? We can also look at our average comments per post, which are right here, 1.68. So here, 1.68, you're going to have more people to look at it in order to get one comment. And then you can also look back up here in our community section for the average followers per post. So this is saying each post gets about half a follower, right? So if they get half a follower, that means that you've got to get, so 68 times 2 would be 1 follower. So you'd have to get like 150 people to look at it, 140 people to look at it to get 1 follower. So these ratios really help you understand what you have to do to get people to like, follow, comment on your stuff. The final thing we're going to be talking about today is hashtags. And so one of the things I always hear from my clients is, how can I figure out which hashtags are working and which hashtags are not working? And so Metricool gives you a way to look at this. And so this is something that's really amazing that comes with Metricool when you use Metricool. So we are going to, we can look at our hashtags here with just the last 30 days. But the problem with that is you see all of these have just one post, because if you're using a variety of hashtags, you're usually not going to use one hashtag enough times in 30 days to really get a view of how it's doing. So I usually recommend coming up here and changing your date to be something longer. So 6 months, 12 months, whatever the case may be, so that you can have some of these impressions and things have more than one post, which will make it easier to tell what is going on with them. So I'm actually going to do 12 months. So I'm going to go ahead and sort by number of posts. And you can see that on some of these hashtags, I have posted quite a few times for that particular hashtag. So if I've posted 60 times, this is a pretty good indicator that this is a hashtag that either worked or didn't work in that number of times. Does that make sense? The larger the hashtag, the more popular it is, the harder it is to have that hashtag help you. But suffice it to say, if you've posted this many times, you can really get some real feedback on it. Now here in Metricool, you're going to be able to see your number of posts, your impressions, your likes, and your comments. And you can sort by any of those to kind of get an idea for which hashtags are actually helping you the most. So I like the idea of going ahead and taking a look by likes. Any of these ones that have only been in one post, it's really hard to say that that's actually kind of helpful data. So I would try and look for ones that have been in more than one post to really do a comparison here. So for this particular brand, okay, so here we go. This one is 2 times and it's ranking as one of the higher likes. But because, okay, so it's 2 times, it has the same number of likes as this one, but I only had to post this one once to get this number of likes. I had to post this one twice to get this number of likes. So I'm not really getting any great data here for this one. So I might try and look again, or, you know, if I know that I want to know that if this one works or not, then maybe I use this in a few more posts to see what happens. Let's go ahead and do by comments. So again, nothing is really jumping out at me as doing significantly better than others. So if you found yourself questioning, like this one actually has 15 likes, 3 comments, which 3 comments is pretty high for this brand, and 5 posts it was used in with 89 engagement. So this almost seems like maybe it's not getting much engagement, but I'm also noticing that the posts that it was used in all look very similar. So you may want to double check that and see if that's actually the case. So the hashtag analytics here on Metricool are great. It's much better than what you get in Instagram. But if you want even more detailed analytics, I actually have another provider that you could use for hashtag analytics, and there'll be a link for that in the description of this video. And if you want to try and look more in detail at your hashtags. But for just surface level hashtags, this is a great way for you to go. If you can narrow down, like let's say you're testing specific hashtags during the month, then you'll be able to do better. You can see I've used quite a few hashtags over this time period, so it makes it a little bit harder for me to evaluate whether or not they are working. The overarching idea here is that your hashtags should be impacting your impressions. So theoretically, you want to use the hashtags with the most impressions and stop using the hashtags with the least impressions. If a specific hashtag gets more engagement, even if the impressions are low, you may want to consider using those also. So you can look at impressions, you can look at engagement, and either way, that's going to be a good indicator for which hashtags are helping you. But the more times a hashtag is used, the more impressions it's going to have. So like I was telling you, if it's used on multiple posts, of course it's going to have more likes. So you want to make sure you're not comparing the impressions for a hashtag that was used once to a hashtag that was used 10 times. If they have the same number of likes, the one that was used once is actually getting you more likes than the one that was used 10 times. So you have to really think that through and consider figuring out the average impressions for each hashtag, the average likes for each hashtag, to see how it's really doing for you. Again, if you want further hashtag help, I do have a course called Hashtag Hackers, where I go through what you can do to learn more about your hashtags, find the right hashtags for your industry, and I also have another resource that can help you with that as well. Now, today's quick question was, how often do you look at the data and analytics for your Instagram account, including stories and hashtags? Leave a comment and let me know. Make sure you watch my last YouTube video about how to use your social media marketing competition to increase reach on social media. And in the next video, we'll be discussing how to analyze Metricool data to improve your social media marketing strategy for Facebook. If you want to start tracking your Instagram analytics and hashtags with Metricool today for free, go ahead and click the link that's in the description. If you would like access to my resource, Hashtag Hackers, there will also be a link in the description for that. Your challenge for today is to look at your hashtags in Metricool and see if you're surprised by the results of the hashtags that you have been using. If you want more help finding the right hashtags, be sure to check out my course, Hashtag Hackers, and learn how to do a hashtag brainstorm and get my hashtag mixer to keep your hashtags organized. Don't forget to live your dream every single day, and I will see you in the next video.